Yodagelkivano. Hujvaj. Yo? Oh boy. Start of another day. They turned the clocks back last last night. They turned the clocks back an hour. So what does that mean? I lost an hour of sleep? I don't know. I go on my body clock. That's what I do. I go to sleep, and I'm at that age in life now, I think, where you just go to sleep and you wake up when you wake up. It's just, you get out of bed when you get out of bed. That's it. So when they turn the clock one way or the other, it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I don't have a schedule per se. It's not like I have a schedule or anything. But anyway, so we lost an hour, so that means that I think it was getting dark here. It was getting dark here at about 7:15, 7:30. So now it's going to start getting dark. Now it's going to start getting dark. What, at 6:30 or something like that? I don't know. Anyway, not too much on my mind today. Oh boy, that's good. That's really, really good. Oh boy. All right. Oh, Mr. Naughty. Yeah. Mr. Naughty. So I remember I had the cup. The host, she had a cup made up. Hello, Mr. Handsome, because I think she had seen my profile and everything like that, and so she had a cup made up that said "Hello, Mr. Handsome," and yesterday she dropped off this cup. I think she's been watching some of my YouTube videos, some of my unlisted YouTube videos. You don't see all my those of you that tune into my morning thoughts. Just so you know, you're just saying what I want you to see, and that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. How she found my videos, I don't know. But anyway, I like the cup. Hello, Mr. Naughty. So, on a serious note, yesterday I got 2 or 3 comments relative to Australia asking international visitors or tourists, etc., to leave. And let me preface this discussion by saying that I don't have a lot of people watching these videos. There's probably 200. On any given day, there might be 200, sometimes 300. Today, there'll probably be 300 because of the title, Mr. Naughty. People are going to say, ooh, what's he being naughty about, But, but anyway, so I have, let's, for sake of conversation, I have 200 people that watch my videos. And the majority of the people, probably the majority, or the overwhelming majority of the people that watch my videos on a day-to-day basis, they don't particularly care about me one way or the other. They're just more interested. They're more, not interested, they're more curious. There's those of you out there that watch these videos, you're just kind of curious, if not curious, maybe you're intrigued. Maybe you're curious or you're intrigued. But then there are those of you, and there are those of you out there that watch my videos that you care about me. You care about me. And you know what? I care about you. I really do. And for those of you that care about me and think to send, messages to me on whatever about my status over here and, my plan, should I stay or should I go? I know that 99.9% of the time, that your heart's in the right place. And that's what's most important. You know, when your heart is in the right place, that's the this cup looks good on me, doesn't it? My dad used to do this eyebrows all the time. You know, he'd go like that. but but anyway, the for those of for those of you that care about me, um, I would think that in part it was that caring nature in part that prompted some of you to share share the news, the breaking news. You know that the Prime Minister of Australia, I'm not sure what his name is, Morris. I think his name is Morris. The Prime Minister of Australia has asked has asked international visitors or tourists or visa holders, whatever it is, to leave the country. And naturally, that caught my attention. So I started to Google it. And what's interesting about news and how news spreads and all that kind of stuff, you know, people will take a story, or they won't hear the whole story, or they won't understand the whole story, and they'll draw a conclusion. They'll draw a broad conclusion from it. Prime Minister tells everyone that's not Australian to get out of the country. So I started to do a little bit of digging. And what I found was he did advise people. He did advise people to leave, that people should leave. And basically, the story I read related to the Prime Minister, the story that I read was pertaining particularly to the fact, I'm losing my connection. But what I read was Australia is not in a position that those people that came over here as backpacker visas, or I think where you come and you can work for 6 months or something like that. You know, and a lot of the places that these people were coming over here to work, a lot of these places are closed. So those that came over here with the intention of working, you know, now they don't have work. And in many situations, they don't have money. And the Australian government is basically saying, look, you know, you came here, you know, with understanding that you can financially support yourself. And now, you know, given the light of the current situation, if you can't support yourself, we're not going to support you and you should leave. And then something to that effect. I'm doing what's called paraphrasing. As I understand paraphrasing, it's kind of like communicating to you. You're very stable and make intellectual statements. There you go. I think that's the appeal of your channel. For some people, perhaps yeah. So thank you. Or as they say over in Hungary, köszönöm szépen. But anyway, so you know, that was I was reading the underlying statement of what the Prime Minister was saying, and basically saying that if you don't have the ability to support yourself, you need to leave, because we're not going to support you. And then he said something else that caught my attention, and the more astute individual would have picked up on it. The less astute individual probably would have just run over to YouTube and made a comment that says all visitors got to leave, okay? But he made a comment that caught my attention, and that was something about the immigration officer, you know, will have further comments later, something to that effect, something to the effect. And the problem that they're facing over here in Australia. Do you remember when the lovely Michelle and we went to Airlie Beach. Remember, we were walking down the street with Airlie Beach, and she was putting on that hat and what have you. Well, right on that main street in that little town, there were 2 or 3 hostels. And these hostels are where these people come and stay, like, they'll have like 12 beds in a room, kind of like a military barracks. Like you have a room like this kitchen, and you might have, 3 beds here and 3 beds there, and what have you. And you get these people in these hostels, young people that are drinking and partying and having a good time. And it's not that they don't want to social distance, but oftentimes they can't social distance because of the environment in which they find themselves in. And that's one of the concerns. That's one of the concerns that they have when it comes to, foreign visitors and what have you. And I was reading the comments from this individual, and there were reports out that a lot of these foreigners, these visitors, tourists, whatever you want to call us, I should say, a lot of them are not complying with the social distancing guidelines, and as such, the immigration, the head of immigration or something, basically bluntly said that they need to leave, they need to get out. So, there's a lot of, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I don't have to leave, because it may be the fact that it turns out that in fact that I do need to leave. But just to clarify for those of you, I came in here through what was called the ETA. Remember, I was at the airport in Hawaii and I needed to apply to get into the country? Well, I applied, if you look at it, it's called an ETA, Electronic Transfer Authority. Electronic Transfer Authority, ETA. I don't have a visa, as I understand it, okay? As I understand it, I don't have a visa. I may have a visa. I may have a visa with a subclass 600. But I don't know that I have a visa per se. But I was issued permission to come into this country by the Electronic Transit Authority. I paid a $20 application fee, and they granted me entry into Australia, and I'm able to come and go. I believe you fit into that category. You are financially able to take care of yourself, right? So the way that the ETA works is it's valid for 12 months from date of issue, which would be February 14th or 15th. So it's valid for 12 months. And during those 12 months, you can come in and out of Australia as you wish. Now, this is all coronavirus aside, mind you, because you can't leave and come back at this point in time. But you can, with this, in a normal situation, once you get this ETA approval, you can come into Australia, stay for 3 months, leave for a week or 2 weeks or whatever it is, come back and stay for another 3 months. So theoretically, you could spend, I don't know how long in over the course of a year, coming and going. I think that they start to question you if it's more than 6 months. But so that's my status, and my status is that I need to leave. I need to leave by the middle of May. So, I applied for an extension last week. I went on and I filled out this form. I put in the copies of my passport, medical insurance, all this stuff. So, I tried. I'm using, get ready, here's your 50-cent word, okay? You ready? You gonna write this down? All right. I'm using due diligence. That's right. No, due isn't a 50-cent word. All right. Due is worth a nickel. All right, like your library books are due tomorrow. Okay, that's worth a nickel. All right. Diligence. Diligence is the 50-cent word. All right. So I'm using due diligence in in my in consideration of my situation here, and that's all I can do. You know, I just got off the computer. I went to the same website where I applied for the ETA approval. I went to the very same website, and there was a little button down at the bottom that said contact us. And I filled out a form with my passport number, my reference number. I told them that I'm a 56-year-old, foxy, you know, American guy. And that's what Melissa calls me. She says I'm a foxy man. And somebody from the UK today said that I'm a silver fox or something. But anyway, so I went online and I submitted the contact form and basically told them my situation. I said, you know, I've got the financial means to stay here. I've got health insurance. I've rented a home. I'm self-isolating. Do I need to leave? Is my status here still valid? And tomorrow morning, I'm going to call the Department of Home Affairs and find out from them, am I legally required to leave? And if I am, I'll leave. If I'm legally required to leave, I'll be on the next plane out. It's really that simple. You know, it really is. It's really that simple. If I'm required to leave, I will leave. I believe in the old adage, or the biblical quote, give to Caesar what is Caesar's. Meaning, you know, you live under Caesar. You live by Caesar's laws. And in this case, Caesar happens to be an Aussie. But you know, something that's important to understand as well. I love Australia. Oh my goodness, if I had another life to live, I very certainly might want to be, have been born an Aussie. If only so I could go to the big sporting games and go, Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. That's what they do. Oz was waiting for me to work that in. You know, that's what they do down here in Australia when they go to the big football or rugby games or whatever. The whole crowd will yell, Aussie, 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 oi, 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 or something like that. I don't know if I'm getting it right, but that's going to be on my bucket list, to go to a big game with Oz. You know, to sit in a big packed stadium and do that chant with Oz. That's on my bucket list now. I put that on my bucket list of things to do before I leave this earth. But I love Australia. I mean, I really do. I really love this place. It's a magical, beautiful, wonderful place. And I want to come back. You know, this coronavirus thing, this pandemic, you know, God willing, I survive it and come out in one piece on the other end. But this thing is going to end. And when it ends, you know, life may not go back to normal as we once knew it. But life will conform to a normalcy once again. And when it conforms to a normalcy, once again, I'd like to come back down under. I really would. I don't want to get blacklisted. And that's what they'll do. You know, when you leave this country, one way or the other, unless you go down to the Great Ocean Road and get in a boat and start rowing, when you leave this country, you got to go through, passport control. And they take your passport and they scan it through a little machine. And if they scan that passport of mine through a little machine and they find out that I was here when I shouldn't have been, I should have gone home a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, or whatever it is, they'll blacklist me. And Carlo can have all the connections in the government that he wants, but I don't think that even Carlo would be able to get me off the blacklist. And I don't want that. I don't want to get blacklisted. So I can't come back down to Australia and have Airbnb hosts give me little coffee cups that say, hello, Mr. Naughty. You see? So anyway, that's the update for today. And I was sitting here yesterday making my breakfast, or my dinner rather. I came back from my walk. I made myself a nice salad, had myself some pasta, steamed some asparagus, and I was just sitting here in the kitchen looking out at the tree. It's a rather windy day, but I was just sitting here looking out at the scenery and thinking to myself, if I've got to be isolated somewhere, if I've got to be stuck somewhere, what a beautiful place to be. Really. I mean, what a wonderful, beautiful place to have found myself, Mount Eliza. And this home is just the home is just so comfortable. It really is. The home is just, oh my goodness. I sleep like a bug in the rug, in the bed. It's just it's more than comfortable. I mean, just really, really nice accommodations. Probably more accommodation than I need. I Christie's place was just so charming and cute and cozy, and all that I really needed. But anyway, so yeah, so that I lost my I lost my trend of thought. So I'm here until the 15th, unless I'm told that I need to go. And I saw in the news that Qantas, that the Australian government is going to work with, I think, Qantas and Jetstar on several routes to help bring some stranded Australians home. And Qantas I think, is flying to Los Angeles. And I would imagine that there would be empty airplanes going over there. And I thought maybe, part of the challenge of getting home is sitting in an airplane with a bunch of people. And if there's empty airplanes going over to Los Angeles, maybe I could catch a ride on one of those empty airlines. But I got to tell you that I'm always, throughout the course of my lifetime, I always try to anticipate problems. The better you're able to anticipate problems, the less the problem will end up being. And I say that because, I've got an exit strategy in my head. I've got a plan. If I land in America, I'm not going to, touch down at LAX and basically say what's next. I do have somewhat of a plan. And to be quite honest with you, how I get there, that's one thing, but my plan, my tentative plan, is to find my way to a street called Steel Street in Youngstown, Ohio. That's my plan. My plan is to find myself to Steel Street in Youngstown, Ohio, and have the ever wonderful Mr. Ronnie Resnick, who I love so much, have Mr. Ronnie Resnick meet me at that big old warehouse and open up that big rolling door and see my Dodge Ram 1500 Limited, with the crew cab and what have you. To see my beautiful Dodge Ram sitting there in that warehouse, just waiting for me to turn the key, and the camper, the teardrop camper. But that's my goal. My goal is to get back to Youngstown, Ohio, and to get in that camper and to self-isolate myself in that camper for 2 weeks. That's my goal. I want to self-isolate in that little teardrop camper for 2 weeks and find my way, down through, I don't know, the Smoky Mountains or whatever, provided I can. I have to, that's all subject to my ability to travel, mind you. That's something that I need to look at in anticipation of any such consideration. But to get in my camper and basically self-isolate to the point where I would be comfortable and Yanae would be comfortable with me going back into the house. Bless her heart and her daughter. They just, boy, I talk to them on the phone and I can just hear I can just hear the comfort in their voice. I can just hear I can hear the comfort in their voice, when they're sitting there on my sofa with their legs up, watching that big old TV, at night and what have you. And, boy, that's, that I gotta tell you, that really took a load off me, getting them down into my house and into a situation where they're safe. But anyway, so that's about it. Those are my thoughts for the day. It's work as usual. My host is bringing me soup today. She's bringing me lentil soup. So I'm going to have some lentil soup for lunch, or maybe for some dinner. I don't know. But so I'm going to have lentil soup today, courtesy of my wonderful host here. I haven't really met her too much. She lives here with her husband, and what little interaction I've had with them, wonderful people, really, really wonderful people. But anyway, so soup's on today. All right, everyone, take good care. Have a great day. Stay safe out there. What a crazy world. I watch the news. I've got Fox News on. You people over there in the United States. I was going to say New York, New Jersey, some of those areas that are just hit so hard. But, and in a time like this, you got to erase the borders. I mean, you can say we're New Yorkers, we're Floridians, we're Californians, but at the end of the day, we're Americans. That's what we are. We're Americans. And there's really no borders. You can say, this is New York and this is Ohio and this is Texas and whatever. But at the end of the day, we're Americans. And that's, that's the most important thing to remember is that one fact that, that we're one nation under God. What is that? I pledge to the allegiance. Okay. Anyway, take good care, everyone. Have a nice day. All right. Okay, bye-bye.